Hey, welcome back to Picking Vintage. I'm Bob, and thanks for coming along for the ride again. So I had a good weekend. Went out picking at yard sales pretty much all day. There was a neighborhood yard sale where I hit about 8 to 10 homes in a row. And then I stopped at a church yard sale and found some good stuff, and then hit another one where I found some of my favorite things. Actually, at the end, as I was heading back home, I just happened to see something and stopped and struck gold. So let's go look at some of the things I picked up this weekend. I bought a lot more, but these are kind of the highlights. So the first one is this regatta game. This is a vintage 1960s board game by 3M. It's pretty good. You can, it's basically playing like you're sailing. You do turns, and there's cards for wind and all kinds of things. This is pretty good. I paid $2 for it, and it goes for around 20 bucks on eBay. So nothing spectacular, but kind of a cool little vintage thing. It's got a good mid-century modern look to it, so I like that. I also picked up this pretty cool Olympus camera. It's a OM1N. Now, cameras can be very valuable depending on what it is. Now, this particular camera, I looked it up. If it was in good condition, working with no fungus or anything growing in it, it's about a $150 camera or so, with the lens especially. Now, when I look through the lens, there is a little bit of black spots in there, which I think is fungus. I'm not an expert at it, so I don't think I'm going to be able to get that high amounts, but it still is about $30, $30 to $50 just as a parts piece, or they can use it without the lens. So that was still pretty good. So it cost $3, so I think I had a pretty good return. Even if I only get 30 out of it, that's still pretty good. Also, I have a stack of about 10 coasters. Now, what's neat about these are from Reynolds Aluminum, which used to be headquarters here. And these are mid-century, 1960s, people like that. It's got this good aluminum look to it. They're a little crest on it. These go for about $15 to $20 for the stack. Again, I paid $2 for the stack, so that was a pretty good buy. I've never seen them before, but they are very collectible, and especially around here because it used to be the headquarters. I think I can sell them pretty easily. So I also kind of went on an animal kick. I got a coonskin cap that still is pretty good. These used to be the thing back in the 1950s before my day, but I think I can sell it. It's kind of an interesting piece here. I don't really know much about it, but I got it in a lot of things, a whole group that I think I paid maybe 50 cents for this thing. And I'm sure I can get at least $10 for it. And I got another animal piece, this beautiful mink stole to keep you warm on those winter nights. It's really good condition. Now, this is a weird one because some of the minks, it's just the fur, but this is like the full body of mink that's stuffed. And you see these around. I don't know who would wear this on their shoulders, but it used to be the thing and apparently still is. The thing you have to check with when you buy any fur items is if the fur comes up, if you pull at it and it comes out, then it's deteriorating and it's really not worth it. So you want to make sure that always do the sniff test when you're buying vintage clothing or anything. So these things go $30, $40, $50 online. I paid $5 for this one. I think it's a cool piece. Not really something I would be wearing. And I also picked up this, I don't really buy figurines or anything like that, porcelain, but I don't know if you can tell who this might be. This is Bilbo Baggins from the Hobbit. So this is a 1970s piece. I think it's 1979. So it's kind of an early piece. And if you're going to buy anything that is glass or porcelain or figurine like this, you really got to make sure there's no damage to it. If there's any damage, the value goes right out and you probably won't even be able to sell it. So I had to look this over very carefully. I paid $15, which at a yard sale was a little bit much. This was at the church yard sale. And but they go for $40, $50 on eBay. So I was pretty excited to get that. Cool piece. And so I think it'll be pretty easy to sell because, you know, everybody loves the Hobbit. Still popular all these years later. So but the last couple of pieces are some of my favorites. Actually, the yard sale, if you saw my video before where I got this beautiful pottery bowl, they had another yard sale this past weekend, and I went back to it, and I got another great piece. This is a Seth Thomas & Sons Candlestick clock. Now, when I looked it up online, they are from about the 1870s, and they go for about $150. Now, this one has a little bit damage along the base, but I don't think it detracts from that much from the look of it. I need to get a new glass cover on it, but those are a couple dollars. I have a friend who fiddles with clocks and can probably get this one working. I have the pendulum for it. And that's another key thing. If you ever buy a clock and you're going to move it, always remove the pendulum before you move it. If you leave it on there, it can mess up the spring. So hopefully that hasn't happened. But I'll have my friend take a look at this thing, see if he can get it running. The guy, I bought it from, said it was running, but I don't have the key for it. I have some keys that can wind it, but I don't have one right now. And I have the pendulum, so we'll see if we can get it working. But it's a really, again, old piece. If I can get it running, it's probably still $90 to $100, even with some of the damage along the base. Now, the other two pieces are pretty cool. I love old paper and old diaries. This is from 1932. This is actually a travel diary. The woman, I think it's a woman that's writing it, talks about visiting various places in Europe, whether it's Paris, Italy, a number of things. I haven't really had a chance to look through these, but people love these things. I've sold a number on eBay over the years. They go sometimes $100 or more, depending on the content that's in there. Now, it takes a little bit more time when you sell it, because it's best if you can read through the entries and if you can pull out some interesting things. For example, one I sold maybe about a year ago, the woman had visited Italy, and while she was there, there was an earthquake. So I took that entry, put it into my description, and that, I think, helped sell it. So that's something that if you ever buy anything like that, adding the description, that kind of information into the description will help. So finally, I got this really cool piece. Now, it doesn't look like much from the cover. Somebody had rebound it and made it for a friend, but the inside is from around the 1850s. This is what this is. People used to visit and they would write poetry in these books. So they would go visit a cousin or friend, and they would often write little sayings or poetry. And this person, now I don't know if this was from people visiting or if this is one person that did this, but they also put in these cool little lithograph pieces in there. There's a number of them. Now, some of these talk about they were in Dublin, so I don't know if this came over from Ireland. I haven't really investigated enough, but it's a really, really neat piece, and it's full of graphics and writing, again, from the 1850s. So that was really neat. Great piece of history. I love this stuff. It really helps tell the story. So those are the things I got this weekend. I think I did pretty well for the yard sales. We'll see what I can keep finding. And again, thanks for coming along for the ride.